All right, let's talk about Evan Neal, the highly hyped up prospect who has not quite lived up to the hype so far 1 year into his, really not even 1 year, 3 games into his career. He is currently Pro Football Focus's second lowest rated tackle. So what's going wrong with him? And is this an Andrew Thomas situation where he's struggling early, but then will get better? Andrew Thomas, their left tackle was someone who was the 4th overall pick, really struggled his rookie year, but got better as the season went on, and then has become one of the best tackles in football. Well, one thing I want to talk about with Neal, I'm honestly wondering if part of it is just he's having a hard time playing right tackle. He played left tackle last time we saw him, and maybe it's just a little bit difficult to get the hands exactly where you want them to be. We saw this with Penei Sewell, where when he played right tackle, there was a bit of an adjustment there. Now listen, he also played right tackle. It's not like he only played left tackle in college or anything like that, but the last we saw him, he was playing left tackle, so maybe it's a bit of an adjustment getting back to the right tackle stuff. Just a thought I had, because watch what's going to happen on this play. So right when this play begins, one of the biggest differences between left and right tackle is which hand you're using. If you're a left tackle, the most important hand is your left hand. If you're a right tackle, the most important hand is your right hand. You see Evan Neal's right hand. He's trying to get it kind of on that pec area of the edge rusher that he's going up against. That's what he's reaching for. The edge rusher is trying to swipe Evan Neal's right hand down. That is this play. Will that hand get the placement that Evan Neal wants it to get? If it does, Evan Neal should be in good shape. If it doesn't, it could be a very bad situation. As you see, his hand gets completely swiped away, and because of that, he has no way to protect Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones gets sacked. You see Evan Neal very quickly try to help up Daniel Jones as well, trying to do a, hey, my bad, buddy, sorry, that one was on me. Always love a tackle who will at least help the quarterback up immediately after giving up the sack. You got to do it. But it definitely made me wonder if that's maybe just an area of an issue with Neal, and something that I could definitely see him getting better at is just finding out exactly how you want to use that right hand. Like this one's going to be another one of a play that is going to look relatively similar right here. So again, it's going to be a one-on-one matchup. This is DeMarcus Lawrence who he's going up against. So okay, not exactly you're going up against some scrub here. No, DeMarcus Lawrence, obviously a very good edge rusher. And again, when this play begins, you see how Neal's going to stick his arm out, and it seems like Lawrence is just really having no trouble with this. Lawrence grabs Neal's right arm with Lawrence's right arm, his hands kind of on Neal's wrist, and at this point, Lawrence can do what he wants to do. Watch him just move it down, and at that point, again, how are you going to block him right there? The answer is you're not, this time, Evan Neal doesn't even help out Daniel Jones. What's happening here? You got to help pick him up. I thought that's what you're doing after you give up the sack. Just, a tough play from Evan Neal, clearly. And again, it's that hand thing. That's what he has to figure out. Something like this is going to be another one where it's going to be, again, Lawrence one-on-one against Neal. Watch how when this play begins, you see how Lawrence is going to kind of just get to the outside a little bit more than, otherwise. But at this point for Neal, typically what you want to do if you get to this spot, if the edge rusher is just completely going by you like this, is get both hands onto the edge rusher's sort of right, almost arm area, right shoulder kind of, and maybe bicep even, and really just maybe the side of his body. Just get to the side of the player is what I'm trying to say. You push him behind the quarterback. It's not ideal, but it's a way to get him out of the quarterback's way. But the issue is, I think Evan Neal was just a bit slow in getting over there to where at this point, how far back are you really going to be able to push Lawrence? The answer is not at all. And again, Lawrence is able to get there for a sack. This is now 3 sacks Evan Neal has given up, which is, if you give up 1 sack in a game, it's a bad game. So giving up 3, yeah, that's a really tough game. And that's something that he has to get better at. But I want to just make sure that it's clear that, listen, I was a big fan of Evan Neal coming out of the draft. I believe I had him as my tackle number 3 coming out of the draft. And the reason why he wasn't 1 or 2 was I felt like he was going to be a little bit raw and going to take some time to develop. I said the same thing about Andrew Thomas. And even when Andrew Thomas was having that rough first season, I was not worried because it was all according to plan. And I kind of feel similar towards Evan Neal. Like there are still some issues on his tape, not even those sacks, but this play is an issue. It's going to be a one-on-one matchup, and watch it's going to be kind of a weird play actually, where there's going to be a blitz with Parsons. It's essentially a twist is what they're doing, where you have Micah Parsons, who's also lined up on that side of the field, run to the guard's right, and then you're going to have the edge rusher that Evan Neal is going to be going up against. He's going to run to Evan Neal's left. Watch. You see right here, okay, Evan Neal now getting over to try to block him, but it's just one of those situations where I don't know what exactly he's doing here. I mean, you see how far his body is turned towards the left. Ideally, you want to almost have your legs creating a line that's directly, parallel to where the edge rusher is. This is almost the exact opposite. It's just going right with where the edge rusher is. I mean, this is exactly not the footwork you want to be, especially when you're only on one foot right now, too. And that foot is so far over to his right. I mean, you're asking to get knocked over. Neal does get put on the ground right here, and Neal just falls down a lot. That's just something that he does. It happened a lot in college. It's now happening a lot at the NFL level. That's just kind of a thing. He just, part of me always felt like he's kind of almost a bit too tall at times, where it just makes it, lower sense of, lower or higher center of gravity, which causes you to fall down a little bit easier. So I don't know if he should get shorter. I don't know what you do. Maybe gain some weight. Really get the footwork down, get the technique down is what he has to do. These things weren't really big issues in college because he was, in college, just easier to get away with that stuff. At the NFL level, if you have an issue, they will exploit it. They will find your weaknesses and exploit those. So he has to clean those things up. However, I want to end on a positive note. I do believe Neal can clean this stuff up, and I do believe that I still stand by he has incredible talent, and I see that on tape. This play is a simple play. Don't have to worry about technique too much. It's just a double team. So the other guy is going to, all you really have to do is just push this defensive tackle. That's all your job is. Very simple. Evan Neal is going to push that defensive tackle out of the way, clear up running lanes for him. I'm not saying that he's been fantastic, but I'm just saying you have seen little glimpses of stuff like this from Neal. The physical tools are there. The athleticism is there. And you also know the technique isn't there. I mean, that's just what we know about Evan Neal as of today. There are the Andrew Thomas comparisons, absolutely, but it's worth mentioning just because Andrew Thomas took a season to really get it down does not mean that every tackle that was a high draft pick and struggled their first season eventually gets it down. But it does happen. Colton Miller's another guy I think about with the Raiders who had a rough rookie season and then got a lot better. He was a first round pick as well. So it's definitely something that happens. Learning the technique is always going to be difficult. So what have we learned here? Well, I think we learned a lot about what Evan Neal is currently today. I think we got that down. I think we understand what he is today. I think what we also know is there is history of guys like this getting better. So panicking about Evan Neal and calling him a bust would be foolish. But I also think it is always fair to say you can't just assume he's going to be good either, because that doesn't always happen either. There's really no way of exactly knowing. We're just going to have to give it some time, which is less fun. We want to just say right away if he's great or a bust, but the reality is we don't know right away if he's great or a bust, but eventually we will figure it out. What do you think? That's what I think. Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.